Nebraska, including the outstanding colts, Successor, Diplomat Way, Bold Hour, and In Reality. However, two super horses, Dr. Fager and Damascus, overshadowed the others of the '64 crop. Dr. Fager and Damascus would beat 4 times in a rivalry that would equal any in American racing history. In 1967, Damascus set out to win the Triple Crown. Dr. Fager was set to the task of winning the rich races run around the classics. They met in their preparation for these important races in the stirring 1967 Gotham Stakes, which you are witnessing now. As they went down the backstretch, Royal Malabar, a sprinter, held the lead. Dr. Fager and Damascus were laying close enough. Dr. Fager is going to move around horses as they come to the top of the stretch. Damascus will make the first move at Malabar. This race was run at Aqueduct Racetrack coming out of the chute. Royal Malabar is still on the lead. Damascus, Bill Shoemaker in the irons, sets out to catch him. Dr. Fager with Manuel Icaza goes around those two. You will be watching one of the stirring stretch duels of the 4 races that these two met in. This one set the scene. Watch them as they battle down the Aqueduct stretch. Sprinter is just about beaten. Damascus now takes the lead. Dr. Fager challenges him from the outside. The two great thoroughbreds are matching strides. Forget the rest of them. This is a 2-horse race between 2 rivals who will meet 4 times. As they leave the 8th pole, it's Dr. Fager on the outside asserting himself to draw off and win. The mile is going to be run in 1 minute 35 1/5. Dr. Fager wins the Gotham. Following the Gotham, Damascus went on to win the Wood Memorial, run 3rd in the Derby, win the Preakness, Belmont Stakes, set a new track record in the American Derby, win the Travers by 22 lengths, and equal the track record at Saratoga. Meanwhile, Dr. Fager won the Withers by 6 lengths, set new track records with victories in the rich Rockingham Special and New Hampshire Sweepstakes, won the Arlington Classic, won the Jersey Derby, only to be disqualified and placed last. Finally, the 4-year-old Buckpasser joined Dr. Fager and Damascus in the Woodward Stakes in the race for 1967 Horse of the Year honors. They decided not to let Dr. Fager win the race alone. They put in what was known in those days and still is as a rabbit. The horse's name was Hedivar. He was a stablemate of Damascus. He was sent out there to try and cook Dr. Fager, bury him in a speed duel. You're watching them match strides as they go into the first turn. You're going to see fractions in a 1.25 mile race. 22 and 2 for the quarter. They're going to go 45 and 1/5. They're going to go 6 furlongs in 109 and 1/5. Dr. Fager is being asked to do the impossible, match strides with a sprinter in a 1.25 mile race. Meantime, Damascus steadied after beginning alertly. He saved ground while in hand for the 3/4. Shoemaker knew that Hedivar was doing the job up in front of him. Dr. Fager just couldn't be rated. He wouldn't let a horse run away from him and hide. He was too game for that and too gallant. The race was being set up for the 2 closers, Damascus and Buckpasser. Hedivar is through at this point. Dr. Fager has taken over, but he has nothing left. He has run those enormous fractions. They're going to go the mile in 1:35 and 3. They're going to finish this race in 2 minutes 3/5 of a second. Damascus will win it by 10 lengths, and with that victory, he will become the Horse of the Year. Dr. Fager, that year, champion sprinter. Buckpasser, best older horse. The $817,941 earned by Damascus was the most ever won in a single season by a thoroughbred up to that point. In 1968, Dr. Fager never carried an impost of less than 130 pounds and was able to win an unprecedented 4 championships in a single season. Champion Sprinter, Champion Grass Horse, Champion Handicap Horse, and Horse of the Year. He set a world record for the mile of 1:32 1/5, carrying 134 pounds, equaled a track record of 1:59 3 for a mile and a quarter under 132, and broke a 7-furlong track record with 139, getting the distance in 1:20 1/5. When Damascus first meets Dr. Fager in 1968, Damascus carries the top weight of 133, while Fager is carrying 132. You are watching it now, the exciting suburban handicap. It was but a field of 5. Damascus, Dr. Fager, Bold Hour, Amerigo Lady, and In Reality. There was no Hedivar, there was no rabbit. Fager grabbed the lead early. Damascus, with nobody else to challenge the great Fager, went after him himself, and the two matched strides in one of the most exciting duels down the backstretch you will ever see. These are two of the greatest horses of all time, hooked up in a speed duel. They're fractions. They'll go the 6 furlongs in 1:11. They'll go the mile in 1:34 3, and they'll equal the track record with a 1:59 3 finish. Watch them. Braulio Baiza on the inside. He's riding Dr. Fager. Alongside of him is Ikaza on Damascus. They're going head and head. One of them has to give up eventually. Bold Hour is moving at them. In Reality will finish last in this great race. 5 horses. Amerigo Lady, the filly, runs 4th. At this point, Dr. Fager asserts himself. He pulls away from Damascus. He opens up a strong lead. Damascus, a game horse, has had enough. Bold Hour is able to slip between them and run second, but Dr. Fager has won the 1968 Suburban Handicap. In the Brooklyn Handicap, just 16 days later, Damascus carried 130, while Dr. Fager carried 135 pounds. They had raced 3 times up to this. Damascus had won but 1, Dr. Fager 2. On this day, Hedivar was there, and he was very much up to the job. You see him now sprinting to a lead, all out, every desire to knock poor Dr. Fager out of the picture. He opens up an enormous lead with Tommy Lee riding the horse. He goes the quarter in 22 4, the half in 45 4, the 3/4 in 109 2, and this is a 1.25 mile race. Dr. Fager runs right with him. The two of them will match strides. It'll be too much for Dr. Fager. Damascus will be able to even up the rivalry and win by 2.5 lengths under Manuel Ikaza. Damascus ended his career with a sad last-place finish in the Jockey Club Gold Cup, a race he had won as a 3-year-old. He returned to the barn injured and never raced again. But in his other 31 starts, Damascus boasted 21 victories, 7 seconds, 3/3, and career earnings of $1,176,781. Dr. Fager ended his career with his incredible victory in the Vosburg Handicap, a race which he had won as a 3-year-old. In a career that had 22 starts, Dr. Fager had won 18 times with 2 seconds and 1/3, with his only unplacing coming in the Jersey Derby, a race he won easily but was disqualified. Only champions Buckpass, a successor in Damascus who beat him twice, ever finished ahead of Dr. Fager. He showed career earnings of $1,002,642. This is their final meeting, the Brooklyn Handicap. The fractions have just about eliminated Dr. Fager. Damascus moves over and takes the lead on his rival. Damascus and Dr. Fager were indeed great, and their greatness was best demonstrated the 4 times they raced against each other. Even though he gives his rival 5 pounds, Dr. Fager still hangs on gamely. And as for Damascus, with this 2.5 length win, he sets the track record of 1:59 1/5. Final score of their 4 great meetings: Dr. Fager 2, Damascus 2.